Hey everybody, glad to be back. I missed you all. I hope you all had a great Christmas. And anyway, I have something kind of fun planned today. I am going to take a small plein air study that I did in the Sierra Nevadas this fall. And we all have a lot of these laying around, and I just thought it'd be interesting to take it and make it into a bigger, more elaborate painting. So what I have done is, hey, thanks for joining. What I've done is I have taken actually the photograph of the scene where I was in the Sierra Nevadas, and I will hold it up so you can see it. Hey, thanks for joining, guys. This is the photograph that I took while in the Sierra Nevadas, and I loved this day because it was really foggy and misty and super cold. I'll talk about the bear in just a minute. So what I do is I will take the study, the painting study, and I will do a thumbnail sketch from that and, oh, thanks for joining, that and the photograph, and I will take and turn it into my little thumbnail sketch. What I've done here is I've worked out some of the issues that you might have with the photograph. So I've mapped out where my dark values are going to go, and that's what this little sketch is right here. And these are just random notes. As I'm making my sketches and thinking about the painting, I'm kind of getting into that mode of, what it is I really want to say about it, the concept. And so in this case, in this painting, it's really not so much about the light, but more about atmosphere. And I think it'll be interesting with this pattern of darks. And another thing I want to pay attention to on this setup is, on my thumbnail sketch here, you can kind of see a sort of a mistake I made. I have everything divided evenly into thirds. I have the sky is 1/3, the mountain is 1/3, and then the foreground is 1/3. So I want to make sure that I balance that a little bit better, a little bit more yin-yang kind of. And then I did find this bear. I took this photograph of this bear when I was in Germany. Isn't it cute? Normally I don't add another photo from another reference into my painting, but the lighting on this bear was pretty much the same as what I have going on here. So what I'm going to do with him is I'm going to put this bear right here in the stream so that you don't really notice him at first, but you just kind of, you look at the whole scene and you take in the atmosphere, and then all of a sudden then you see the bear, which I think is kind of a fun little technique. So what I do then before I do all that is I will take these and I'm going to tape them up to my easel so that I can see them while I'm working and just keep those words and my concept in mind. And I'm going to tape this over to here. You won't be able to see it, but I'll know it's there. So thanks for joining, guys. And then, so what I'm going to do then is I will keep this right here, and you can see from the photo reference compared to this how different the values are. So that is why I keep this handy. That's why we do plein air, because all of these color notes do not show up in the photograph. So this is staying with me, and I'm going to jump in. What I have is a 20 by 24 linen canvas. This is triple oil primed, just Belgian linen. And anyway, sorry. So anyway, I have it toned, and I like to work on a toned canvas. I don't always do that with my plein air studies, but in this case, because I want everything to be kind of a soft muted tone, I'm going to let a lot of this canvas just show through. So that's why I toned it these colors. This is mostly burnt sienna, and then I added a little bit more ultramarine blue down here because this will be in the cooler tones. Even though warm does come towards us, I want it in shadow. So moving on, I have my palette here set up, and I think I can just lean this down. I'll show you what I have. So I have my titanium white, cad yellow pale, yellow ochre. I'm not going to use these two reds here. I hope you can still see that. I have burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and then a little bit of the phthalo green. Oh, thanks, Joe. Thanks, guys, for joining. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to first, when I start laying in my plans here, I'm going to look at my thumbnail sketch, because that I made that sketch when I was in my left brain and being analytical and thinking and making choices along that way. So that's one of the ways that I start paintings without having to think way too hard. So, all right, so I'm just using my Gamsol. I have my linseed oil and my Gamsol, and right now I'm just using Gamsol. I'm gonna try to see your comments, but I'm kind of way over here, so I'll do what I can. All right, so to begin laying in, I never draw it on with a charcoal or pencil because I find I can just move things around easier by making a thinned down kind of soupy inky mixture. Also, it gets me in that painting mindset to begin with when I just start with the paint. Okay, so looking at my thumbnail sketch, I'm going to just kind of figure out, I'm looking at where I have my plans in relation to the edges of the canvas. I think you might be able to see that a little bit better. Hey, Allie! Hope you guys are having a great vacation. The pictures are great. It's fun to see. Okay, oh, and just so you guys know, I'm not going to bring this painting to any kind of a finish, basically because it's so big. But I do want to at least show you how I would take the information from the photograph, translate it from my plein air study onto the canvas to make that transition. All right, thanks for joining, guys. Oh, yes, thanks, Al. My one line. All right. Okay, so now I really do have to get into this and pay attention. So I'm thinking about my focal point of the area. I'm not gonna consider my bear the focal point because I want that to be hidden in shadows. That's kind of one of those things where you might not even notice the first time you look at the painting, but you go back and say, oh my gosh, there's a bear in the water. So that being said, my focal point is gonna be right in this area. And like I said before, I had way too much information, third of the, good morning, Jessica. Thanks, Ken. I had too much of it being divided into the thirds like this, so I'm gonna I want to give it a little bit stronger division here this way. So this mountain will come up, and I'm just making them big, strong, angled lines. Nothing. I'm not going to get into the detailing mountain range quite yet. This mountain overlaps this mountain. And I have my little sketch here. You probably can't really see it. But these were the directional flow of lines. And I'm going to use those to help aid in that strong composition designs. Good morning. Hi, Philip. So, hope everybody's recovering from their Christmas or holiday festivities. Lost my thumbnail. There we go. The ever important thumbnail. All right. So glad to have you guys here. I miss y'all when I'm gone for a couple weeks. I thought that my last one was going to be the last one of 2016, but I forgot about New Year's. So here we are. I'm looking at this shadow of the water and how it comes like this. I think it's too strong of an X, so I'm going to bring it in like this. Oh, working on a painting myself and thought I just listened. Oh, okay, great. Thanks. Thanks for joining, Matthew. So anyway, this is all going to be just working out my dark shapes and trying to keep it really strong. I remember that's one of the things that when I was at the Lorenzo Chavez workshop, he really talked a lot about strong design, and that's something I really took away from that I thought it's really important to have that sense of strength in your solid darks here. So I like that, and I like that it's off to the center here. It's not right in the middle. And then this comes down. I've got a bank and a bush right here. I want to make sure that that water doesn't get too big. And this will come like this. That's grass in here. And this like this. Okay, so then my water will be in this passage right here. Thanks for joining, guys. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just going to kind of mass in this area that's all going to be dark. And I'm doing this because I want to have a sense of where my composition is going to go from this point on. And I'm just taking a really thin mixture of just ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. And I don't know if you can see my palette very well. I'm kind of try to stand back a little bit. I'm always asked to show the palette more, so I thought this arrangement might kind of be better. And just because I'm asked every video, I'm not left-handed. These Facebook videos reverse it, so I'm right. This is my right hand, even though it looks different. I don't know why they do that. Okay, so that's good enough for now. I'm just trying to figure out the water's going to be in this area. And this is going to be an anchor. I'm looking for these places where I can have a value anchor, like a strong area. Now, I'm still thinking about this little plein air study that I did, and it does not have a lot of strong darks. Oh, good afternoon. I missed who made that comment, but I'll check back later. Got a little late. Go back to the beginning. This is fun. Oh, thank you, Dee. Yeah, you know, these videos stay up, so if you miss it when it's all done, I always post them on Facebook, and so they're just there. They're just out there. All I was talking about is a little bit about how I will take a thumbnail sketch. Well, I have a photograph, I have the plein air study here, and then how I combine those three elements and I start working out the details on this, the compositional information, things like that. Hi, Lily. Yes, I like seeing your palette. Okay, good. Yeah. I do have one that I could hold, but I don't know. Anyway, we'll see as time goes on. So I noticed too on this photograph of the painting, you can see, I'll show it again. You can see how these values here are really dark, and I just want to make sure that I don't paint them as dark as I see them. Part of the problem of working with photographs, I mentioned from the beginning, is that your darks get way too flat black and your lights get really washed out. So that's why we do the plein air studies when we go out and about. So that we can remember, okay, that wasn't, look how that value was not as dark as how it shows right here. This is the same hill right here. So that's why we do them. I think if I put that there, you might still be able to see it better. Okay. Thanks for joining, guys. All right, so now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about this as being a middle tone. Kind of middle tone dark right here. All of these edges on this mountain back here are going to be really soft, really diluted. Diluted? Non-defined? I never can find the right words. Thanks for joining, guys. I've been working on my book quite a bit lately, and I'm just about to get into the landscape portion of it, so been having a lot of fun thinking and writing and doing all that. A lot of study that goes into it. So I'm looking at this, and I think where I'm going with it is a little bit too dark. Hi, Margot. Thanks for watching from Seattle. Oh, thank you guys for sharing these videos. I really do appreciate that. Very nice of you. Okay, what I was about to say is, see the value I'm putting on this? It's a little too dark. I think the value that my tone canvas was was a little bit more appropriate to the value that I'm looking at. So, good morning, Linda. I'm going to just take a little bit of turpentine here and kind of rub some of that out, just a little bit. And what I mentioned too at the beginning, if you're just joining, is Jackie and Jessica, are you shoveling and plowing snow? Well, thanks for joining, Norm. Thank you, Britt. If you're just joining, I was saying earlier that I'm not going to push this demo to a very far finish, but I just want to show how I will take, happy Hanukkah, thank you. How I'll take my references and turn it into something bigger. The key to working in the studio, whatever you're doing, if you're working from photos or, dang this tape, if you're working from photos or whatever, is to make your painting feel fresh and alive. That's what's key. Nobody likes to look at something that feels labored over and stuffy. So, you know, that's basically what I'm focused on here with all of this effort of the plein air studies and the thumbnails is on here. I want this to feel like I did it out in the woods or out in the wilderness. Keeping it really fresh and alive. That's one of the things I enjoy about painting still lifes is you can keep that feeling because it's just there, it's just set up, you know, and I like that. So I'm looking at my thumbnail, trying not to refer so much to my photograph because every time I look at it, it messes me up and I make it too dark. Just keep that like that. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm going with my design. I think I like that. It's kind of strong. I'll move that so you can see it better. I think that's a nice strong design. I want to make sure that this doesn't shoot me too much this way. So I'm going to break that strong diagonal up. It shoots too much to that corner. I'm going to lose a lot of this to fog and mist. And this right here, I'm going to put a bush in here to kind of soften that strong like that. And I also don't want this X marks the spot thing going on, so I'm going to put a softer value in here just to keep that from doing its little thing there. Like that. Okay, so my bear, I'm going to put, oh, you're doing great. Thanks for sharing your process. Yeah, thank you, Brian. I'm just right here. I'm going to be doing these videos and have a lot of irons in the fire and see what's going to happen. Thanks for joining. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to ask myself, do I have the feeling that I have in my thumbnail sketch? This was my thumbnail sketch. I showed it at the beginning. And I will hold this like this so you can see. I think I pretty much have what I was looking for in this. And I'll make the clouds doing their thing this way just to help, you know, break up some of that X feeling. So there's that. And then the bear, I think I'll put him kind of like right in here. Or there. I'll have to figure out exactly where I'm at. What do you think of Jackson Pollock? One or two of my favorite painters along with Salvador Dali. Well, you know, to each his own. Salvador Dali had some interesting stuff. Jackson Pollock, I don't know. Not really. But, you know, that's my own opinion. I prefer, I don't know. I guess that sometimes there's some things about Jackson Pollock that I find interesting. Anyway, so, good question. So you can see I'm already kind of starting to think about losing these edges in here. And there are some of these mountains right here in the middle that I do kind of just want to map out. I'm not going to make their value very dark because the value of my canvas is already dark enough. That's great looking already. It's only raining. Thank you, Edwin. So this is just going to be really vague. And I do want to get these mountains exactly accurate because they're like a portrait. And they're really recognizable. This is Carson Peak in the Sierra Nevadas right there. And so I'm going to make sure that that is the way I see it. But I'm going to use these colors. Okay, so I kind of like that. So what I don't have on here are my lightest lights. So I'm going to start putting those in. And again, I'm just using the titanium white, and I use a whole bunch of it. And now I'm not going to use any more of the turpentine. I'm satisfied that this is looking the way I want it to look as far as my design and composition. So now I'm going to start laying in actual paint, painting the process. It will be a little bit thinner than my finished product, but here we go. I'm just using white, ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt sienna because I'm going to get some of these clouds up in here because I see that right now as my lightest lights. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Richard. Thanks. Akram, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but I appreciate that you guys are here. So, okay, so getting a nice, some linseed oil, nice mixture. I don't know if you can see my palette. I'll go like this, just so you can see kind of how I go about mixing, like that. I don't want to use just white, straight white out of the tube because it's too stark. I might save one little spot or two at the end for just the bright white. But for now, let's get one. I'm not really worried about, you know, if I take my brush and go over some of what I've already drawn because, again, I'm going to lose a lot of these edges in here. And this is just going to be a thin mixture too. Nothing really committed. So a little bit of yellow ochre in there to warm that up because I think it's, yeah, this is a great size canvas. I like the 20 by 24. What I was saying is that the sky's kind of warmer. There's like that warm cloud, so I have it too chalky blue. So putting in some of this. And I want these clouds going off that way. I guess I have a bigger brush I could switch to. You always want to use the biggest brush for the job that you can. I have a tendency to use too small a brush. I don't know if it's a security thing or whatever, but I don't know why I do that. So always working towards grabbing a bigger brush. Okay, so let's see. Oh, that's the wrong area. No, that needs to be grayer. You can make a really nice gray with a little bit of alizarin, ultramarine blue, little burnt sienna, makes it pretty. And I'm looking at my painting, still keeping my sky the lightest value. I'm going to run this over quickly. I'm holding my brush back as far as I can because I want to get back far enough from my painting so I can try to see it all as a whole. Oh, thanks for sharing, guys. Thanks, Therese. Good to see you. Yeah, so you always want to try to stay back as far as you can. Standing is always the preferred method of painting if you can because you're able to get around and back up and whatever from your canvas. If you can. Doesn't mean I always do. So it's just kind of a thin layer, just getting the paint on there. And I'm looking at both my photographic reference and my plein air study. Getting some oil in there. nice dark spots. Okay. So for now, it's fine. I was gonna say too, I might have already said it, but I don't remember. This painting, I will probably finish it next week, and I will share on Facebook this painting as I finish today with the going live, but next week I'll probably share the finished painting. Okay, so going back to my, what is this? This is a size 6. These are a new brush. It's a relaxing one. Great, thank you. I'm glad I can help. These are a new brush that I've discovered called Gray Matters, and they're more for plein air painting because they have like a matte gray ferrule so that it doesn't reflect all the light. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking, can anyone showing or having no painting? So of course everybody can learn to paint. Well, all you need is the interest and desire. But I mean, you can see it's just a matter of, you know, having a little bit of education. You can take classes, you can check out books, workshops, but yeah, anybody can paint. It's not a stupid question. And in fact, I hadn't really thought about that very much in my life until I went to the atelier, the classical school, and I realized they teach in a method of drawing that, oh my gosh, anyone can learn to do this. Anybody can. It's really just up to the individual, how much interest and passion you have. So looking at this mountain peak here, I'm trying to match my color that I'm mixing here. I'll lean this down. So what I have here, I hope you can see, are the colors that are matched in there, because they are not in my little photograph. So I'm going to lay that in right here. I do want to get the size right, so that's what I'm looking at right there. The size of this mountain needs to be lighter. A little bit, it's like a little bit rosier tone. Amen. See the rose shades? Yeah, good. Thanks, James. So right now these are going to have a little bit more crisper edge to them, but as I paint in the clouds and let the clouds scumble over those, a lot of this sharpness will get lost. Oh, it's too dark. Just laying down pieces of paint. I say that on every video because I just love the thought of all of these little pieces of paint. It's very impressionistic just to lay down this little piece next to that little piece, and don't blend so much. The paint will blend on the canvas if you just lay down smaller pieces of paint next to other pieces of paint. And I'm thinking about letting the brush stroke show the direction of the mountain side, like the slopes. Anyway, I will be working on this proper shapes and so forth. It's back in here. But I'm looking at my little study here and my photograph for reference for this. I want more blue in there. I remember when I was there, there was this beautiful blue that you could really see no matter what on this mountain. I hope I don't miss your comments because I'm focused. I've noticed that this mountain back here is showing up really dark in my photo, but I'm going to have to make it lighter because on my study, it's lighter, which makes sense because more atmosphere in between us. Yeah, I like that better. All right, so letting this come down. But like I said, I'll go back through and work on some of that. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks, Jim. Glad you're enjoying this one. I don't really do very many big landscapes, certainly not from the studio, but I always just kind of take you guys along with whatever I'm doing, so I happen to be doing this, so here we are. This week I started a really big painting, doing the same thing. Again, when I was at the workshop in the Sierra Nevadas, I took a picture of this mountain range and this valley, and I also took some deer from earlier in the day, and so I'm going to put those in there. It's fun. So this value of the sky here is really close to the value of the mountains. Just adding a little bit more yellow ochre and white to that gray mixture. Like that. Just keeping it really just suggested. And then over here, mix it up, add a little bit more white to it. What's that? Oh. Okay, so then this comes like this. I think I have too much blue on that. It's looking green. You can take the yellow ochre and the ultramarine blue, and if you get it in too strong of the parts, it turns it green. Obviously. Just good. Thanks, Rita. Glad you're here. And I remember I used to just turn on Bob Ross when he was on TV, and I just relax, watch him paint. So sit back, have your cup of coffee. Okay, I'm liking where this is going. I can see it from a little bit from a distance. I hope you can see that too. I will paint a happy little mountain right here. He lives here. They weren't really happy that day, though. I'll tell you what, it was so windy when I was painting this. I was holding one hand onto my easel, and basically I was like a kite, like a windsock, and the rest of me was flying behind me. That was fun. So I'm just kind of getting some of this cloud shape, like that mass. My thoughts exactly. Thank you. Thanks. So this is going to be some of these clouds in here. One of the things that I really love to just say when I'm talking to people about painting clouds is think of, if you think light and soft and wispy and airy, it kind of happens at the end of the brush. You just start to feel that light and heavy, not heavy, but I think if you can overthink clouds and concentrate on their form and all that, that they end up looking really heavy and dense and like 4-ton cotton balls. But just keeping your thoughts where they need to be is, I find that whatever I'm thinking has a tendency to come out at the end of the brush. What is that? You should have your own TV painting show. To explain what you're doing very well. Oh, thank you, Jackie. Actually, it's kind of something I'm working on. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I like the way these clouds are kind of moving this way. I'll go back and add little flicks and little finessey things like that. But for now, especially since I'm just trying to show you how I just do this system of transferring a plein air to my canvas. I'm just going to move on past all that. Okay. All right, so getting into this valley passage in here, I'm going to focus on some really subtle, they're really subtle grays with, oh, thanks guys, grays, a little bit of violet in there. I love that burnt sienna, and just kind of get some of these values in here. Yeah, I like some of those. And I'm seeing them in here too in my little plein air study. If you want, I can show you that again. This was the one I did out in the Sierra Nevadas. And so just joining, this was the photograph that I took of the same place. See how different they are? And the values are way too extreme in a photo. So a lot of times we don't really have a choice. We have to work from a photo. And you're just knowing what those problems are going to be before you jump in. It's going to take half your fight away. So if you can just remember that photos will flatten and distort your values, so that you can go in and make sure that you add a little bit more air and atmosphere, and keep your darks not as dark, and maybe a little more interest into your lights, because the lights get really washed out in photos. Okay, and so I see some of this warmer violet-y tone coming down this mountain too, so I'm going to add that in. Again, I'm just keeping things really thin. Thanks, Chuck. Just keeping it thin so that it doesn't become too hard to manage. You can get the paint too thick too soon, and it kind of gets away from you. I should be switching to a bigger brush, but I'm kind of just comfortable. Great points to observe. Oh, thanks, Richard. Okay, kind of like that. I think it's feeling kind of rugged mountainy, and I really do want to get this edge in here. Some of it can be defined, but I think most of it should be pretty much lost. Like that. A little bit like that. Isn't that what Bob Ross says? Like that? Oh, that's great. Good luck. Thanks, Jackie. Okay, so now as I work my painting towards me, I'm going to be adding more ochres and warms, just because our eye is drawn to warm things. So everything that is closer has more warmth to it. And I will do that while we still have time, because I think that's important to capture some of that. Just getting a little bit of this value in here, just so that we can start to see it. And you can kind of twirl and jiggle and, you know, twist your brush a little to get some of that irregular. Since this is such a recognizable place, I will go back through and make sure that every one of these little bumpity bumps matches my photograph, because people know. Or I'll just lose it in the cloud. I'm also, when I title a painting, I'm not going to title the location of this. It's not that I'll keep it a secret, but it's just when you title something so specific, it narrows down your audience. But like the one that I'm working on, the big one of the valley in the same general area, I have some deer that are going to be in the shadows, like right down there, and they're looking at you, but you don't notice them right away because you're looking at the big mountain range. And so I'm going to call the painting Unexpected Encounters, because you don't really see those deer right away. Cool. Oh, thanks, Ben. Hope you guys are doing okay up there. And had a good Christmas. It was nice that one Christmas that we spent with you. That was great. Okay, so, was it Christmas or Thanksgiving? Alright, so what I just laid in here was just a little bit of this value. There's a tree line there, and I like it, and it helps, so I'm putting it in. There's kind of a nice anchor here that sets that mountain range back, so I'm putting that in. It's basically just ultramarine blue. A little bit of burnt sienna in there to help push that back. That looks good. I am venturing a little bit away from my plein air study just because I really do have to have that strong contrast right there, and it's not so much in this. But I am catching a lot more of this color and tone from the plein air. Yeah, liking it so far. Okay, getting a bigger brush. I'm going to start just laying in some bigger swatches of the color as it comes closer to us. Move that over. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with the thumbnails. Hope that stays. Okay, so taking some yellow ochre, like a lot of yellow ochre. Here, I'll show you my palette real quick while I do this. A lot of yellow ochre. Maybe even some more. Some linseed oil. That's ultramarine blue. And gonna just start laying in some of these green tones. It's pretty much the color that's already on my canvas, so I'm gonna let just some of that show through. But as I look at that over there, my photo reference, I'm seeing this this exact tone, so I'm really excited about that. Sometimes you get a color that is just right, and then you can put it in too many places, like use it way too much, so you don't want to fall in love too much with it. Using that color in here. Okay. I'm taking a little bit of the cadmium yellow with the yellow ochre and some white, just a teeny bit of white to keep it close to the tones that are on my little plein air study. But right in this area, I want to start to see some more impact in this. And here, a little bit more white. Just keeping my palette really limited with color choices. And I like using a limited palette because you don't have to work very hard to try to remember, oh, what was that color that I used? What colors did I use to make, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I like this blend right in here. And gonna get a little bit more of a stronger green. Not too strong though, because there really isn't anything really intense in color-wise in this painting, so I'm gonna keep that really soft and muted in there. This is a nice dark right in there. I want my darks to recede going back, even though I have kind of a darker here. These are going to be stronger. I'll punch those up a little bit darker so that they have more of an impact saying I'm closer. Everything closer to you is going to have more contrast, more paint, more color, things of that, so that it feels closer to us. Oh, thanks, Margaret. Thanks for joining. Hey, Dave from Indiana. Thanks for joining. Okay, so, and I've noticed that the trees on the far side of the bank over here are a little bit cooler, so a little bit more white and blue to that. This looks good. Yeah. I don't know. I hope yeah, you can see that. Got a little bush right there. So I'm just using really big strokes, just because I'm trying to lay in the large masses. I'll make some of this in here. Okay. Feeling good about it. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Hi, Nita. Okay, so a little bit of that. Yeah, I feel like this is having a little bit more of that effect that I'm looking for. And now I'm going to take a little bit of this, like this golden color, and just kind of like that. I think it needs a little bit over here just to balance it. Having fun with it. Yeah, needed a little bit of color. This needs some color there too. All right, cleaning my brush, I'm going to get in some of this watercolor. Just basically just, you know, darks and grays and a little bit of white. So taking my brush, going to get a nice big scoop. I'll show you here on my palette. Nice big scoop of ultramarine blue. And this is my burnt sienna. And I just need a nice big mixture of dark here, really dark. So I'm taking this right along the bank of this. And here I can really kind of work out the shape of this little creek. I don't remember what this creek's name is. And it's pretty. I like that. It's okay to like your stuff. That's what I always say. You should like it. No shame in that. Okay. Yeah, that's feeling good. And this, like I said, is going to be punched up a little bit more. It needed that darker value. I think that helps a lot. Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. Happy New Year to you, too. Hope everybody has a safe and fun New Year. Lots of good plans. Good food. Okay, so I'm enjoying that. That looks good. Sort of. I'll probably look back and say, oh my gosh. What was I thinking? All right, now I'm going to get into the middle tone. Oh, hi, Nita. Thank you. Thanks. Glad you're enjoying it. So I'm going to mix a little bit of white in with that same dark value for the water. Just a little bit because I want a grayer tone in the water. A little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of burnt sienna. Okay, so now when I look at my, obviously I don't have water in my plein air study, so, but I do have it in my photo reference. I'll show you again. Photo reference, see the gray in there? There's basically just three values in the water. There's the dark, and then the that middle tone, and then the highlights. So I'm just getting some oil in there. Like I said from the beginning, I'm not going to push this real far, but just enough so that you can kind of see how I might take a photo. And it's a pretty big painting. Getting a little bit more dark in here. Oh, I don't want it too blue. So all of these edges can be soft and lost. And then this dark, or this gray, I'll just put over here too. On this side. Nope, too blue. Yeah, that's better. So like I said too, I'm going to put that bear in, not today, but you at least get the idea. And then just a little bit of this white, gonna take a little yellow ochre to keep it a little bit warmer. This will help to make it feel like this is water in here. I think I'll put the bear right back in there. I'm trying to imagine too, if I was there at the water, what would this, oh thanks Jill, what would this have, would the colors be like what they are in my photograph? And I think that they're probably pretty close. It was kind of a gray day, and I don't think that the water had very much interesting stuff going on. So just going to keep it really muted and understated. Kind of one of those things that visually you might just pass over. You feel it more than, you know, you need to spend time looking at it. I'm also going to put some of the rocks and things in there because it has to have some visual interest. But of course, this is just a really quick. Taking some of this gray that's already on my brush and just putting it in this bush. Noticed it was up there. Some of it's over there. Checking the time. Okay. I'm just getting some ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Kind of want to just take and clean up some of this passage in here so that it has more of a cohesive feel. Oh, thanks, Carl. So that needs to be just cleaned and refined. And that's something that you can take as long as you want on it. But I try to keep it feeling fresh. I want it to feel like I said earlier, like it's a plein air, like we did this plein air. And just gonna push that back that way. Yeah, liking all that. And this needs to have a little bit, I want to connect those. All of this needs to be connected, but for now it's kind of what I have. New Mexico. Thanks. Oh, thanks, Carl. And I'll also put some of those trees going down the hill like this. I think that those look neat. Like that. Let's start to lay some of this down over here so that that feels a little bit more, at least like there's paint on it, so that I like to very quickly get a lot of paint on the canvas so that I can see where I'm going and how to pound the lump of clay. That's what I always call it, pounding the lump of clay, just so you can see what direction to go in. This mountain over here, like this part seems a little closer to me. This one, even though it's in front of this one, is darker here, but it goes back further that way. So this one's going to come this way. So I'll make this a little bit darker here. I like that horizon mountain. Oh, thank you, Omar. So just squinting down. I'm always squinting. When I was painting this plein air, I was always out there squinting. You see it flatter and more two-dimensionally. And it takes a lot of the detail away. You see it as a solid mass, the different areas. And so just thinking too about losing some of these in here. Really like that effect. All right, well, I think that that's about time, and I hope that this has been a helpful one, kind of fun, and worked really hard to get a lot of paint on there really fast, but this is your most likely, oh, all right. Well, anyway, if you missed it, I'm just wrapping up, and this video will be up on Facebook, and all the videos are on my, if you go to my own Facebook page, go to Photos, scroll across to Albums, and click on Videos. You'll see all these videos and a bunch of other ones, and anyway, that's it. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for joining, and have a very happy and safe New Year, and we'll see you guys all next year. Bye-bye.